the House actually passed the Farm Act in its entirety this week. We talked about in the past how they had no vote type discussion meetings. Well, House Ag met earlier in the week. Then you had the Rules Committee met and passed the bill, and then they actually passed it second and third reading on the House floor last week as well. So the bill is now headed back to the Senate for concurrence. So there were some changes that the House did make. They did take out the provision that we've talked about related to the Department of Labor investigations and what is or is not admissible as evidence as part of one of those hearings. So that came out. So when it goes back to the Senate gets to decide whether they want to concur, at which time then the bill would be sent to the governor, or they cannot concur and go to a conference committee and see if there's something that they want to try to work out between the two different versions of the bill. So we'll likely maybe this week or next we'll see what happens with the Farm Act moving forward. But it is basically made it through both floors now and just needs to work out the differences between the House and the Senate. So we've talked about in the past that the House and the Senate finally agreed to a top-line budget number, so the total amount of spending that they have agreed to. After that, last week the Senate actually issued their proposed budget. Not only sent it out for public review, but they also passed it. So all last week they reviewed it, went through its committees, and even passed the floor now. There's quite a bit in there. It's not only just the 2-year spending for state revenues, but it's also a lot of the COVID relief spending that they still had. Several of the items that are in there. One is almost $1 billion for grants to businesses to help cover any tax consequences from the PPP loan forgiveness. There's also about $700 million in broadband expansion money. Again, a combination of state and federal monies. Let's see, there's over $50 million in addition for farmland preservation. If you think that's over tenfold what a normal year would be that they've spent in farmland preservation. So a good bit of additional dollars going there. There's a $30 million line item to help some of the swine and dairy farmers that got shut down because of COVID, to help them either renovate their facilities or state monies to help them close down. So there's no environmental liability still remaining on those facilities. An additional $17 million for the small meat processing grants. We've talked about these off and on for over a year now. And it's another $17 million for those. There's money in there to help with nematode research. There's money going to food banks. $4 million to build a new bee research facility here in Raleigh. There's almost $15 million to help both the state and the Mountain State Fair to make up for all the revenue loss in not having fairs last year. You've probably heard the announcement that everybody's looking forward to having fairs this year, but they need some money to keep going. There's over $100 million in stream debris removal money. So that's for the state to go out and clean up some of these creeks and rivers that still have a lot of debris left over from the storm, so that we can hopefully keep that water moving downstream, so that we can not have some of the flooding issues that have been out there in the past. And there's even $1.5 million in there to help renovate the FFA Center. So there's a whole lot of line items in there related to ag. So again, now this is just the Senate. So now the House has their turn issuing their proposed budget. Probably see that may take them another 3 weeks or so. So maybe by the end of July, mid-July, we'll see the House budget, and then they get together and come to a final agreement, which more than likely will be sometime in August.